Riccardo, we had a number of different people in, I guess, our camp that are very interested in the pedophile situation in Australia. In fact, one of the watchers of the show, Shane Doling, actually wrote a book called Australia's Pedophile Protection Racket, and you guys can see the cover for that there. Why do you target this so much? What do you know about it?
Does Shane watch the show? Are you serious? Brilliant.
I think so, yeah.
10 out of 10. Okay, just so you're aware, now, I've never met Shane. I'm not endorsing what he says because I haven't done sufficient research. But if you're interested in what's going on, you've got to follow the Shane Darling guy. He's utterly fearless. He's got a website called Kangaroo Court of Australia. Check it out. I don't know how this guy isn't in jail for 1,000 years for what he says.
It's a great question.
But man, is this guy got stones.
Because they're scared of him.
Hey, well, that's
not what
a plausible explanation.
It's not what he says, Riccardo. It's what he knows.
Yeah. Anyway, he's put out his second book called Australia's Pedophile Protection Racket. Now, the blurb on the back reads, and let me quote it because it's very sharp. Prime Minister Scott Morrison announced on the 3rd of September 2019 that 28% of pedophiles convicted of federal laws do not go to jail, so the government is introducing mandatory sentencing laws. By June 2020, when the new laws were passed, the government had passed by the government, it had risen to 39%, so it actually increased. The number of pedophiles not jailed, was increased. The minimum inference that can be drawn is that Australian judges and magistrates are running a pedophile protection racket, otherwise they would be doing their jobs and jailing the convicting pedophiles. Two examples are, firstly, Judge John North gave a confessed pedophile who abused two young girls a suspended sentence due to the pedophile suffering high cholesterol, sleeping problems, having had no sex education, and then protected his identity with a suppression order in November 2019. Secondly, convicted pedophile Robert Crick, who sexually abused his 5-year-old grandson, avoided jail in May 2020 after the Court of Appeal in New South Wales felt sorry for him because of his claimed health issues and they were worried he might catch the coronavirus in jail. So folks, if you're interested in researching this, Australia's Pedophile Protection Racket, new book by journalist Shane Dowling, check it out, read it, and be prepared to be horrified.
I'm just horrified by the two that you just stated.
There are countless examples that I researched. I've been researching this now for 13 years. And if you look at the actual findings of the judges around Australia, it's extraordinary. That's nothing. Those two are nothing compared to what is regularly meted out to the pedophiles. And there's a whole process, just so you're aware. If a pedophile looks like he's going to go up before the big, they find the right judge who's going to do the right thing, i.e. protect the pedophile. But just as additional insurance, what pedophile A does is he sells all his worldly possessions to pedophile B for $1.
Yep.
And so when he goes to court, what assets do you have, sir? Nothing. Okay, well, there's nothing. And so if he gets out or suspended sentence, he then buys it all back for $1. Or if he goes to jail, it's kept in trust for him by his mate until he gets out. The process of actually acquiring children is called farming. They like targeting single mothers, and that's why they're so keen on breakdown of the natural family, because then what happens is the single mother is obviously overwhelmed now, and so the pedophile befriends the single mum, and over time she begins to trust him. He pays no interest to the children, and then, look, he says, look, you need a day off. Look, here's a day at the spa. I'll look after the kiddies. And they are very patient. Now, pedophiles work in cells. And they are loyal to a T. They will never betray each other. They're very tight. And they have those that acquire and those that use. And there's a whole network. And so there is a nationwide network of pedophiles, despite the fact that every investigation reveals that, oh no, they're just isolated incidents. But of course you've got judges doing the investigation, and therefore you're going to find out exactly what they want you to find out, which is not the truth. And so there's... Dowling's got to be on the money, but all you have to do is research the judges' decisions in relation to pedophilia in this country, every state, and just make the list of names and look at the actual determinations. It will make you sick. So Shane Dowling's book it on your Shane. Keep the good work up, and buy it and read it, folks.
Riccardo, being a Italian background, I want to ask you a question. And this will relate to what's happening presently. Your father, God rest his soul, had he found out one of his children were touched by anyone, what would he have done?
Well, he's a very special case. So let's talk in generalities. Let's talk in generalities. The government has slowly wedged itself between the parents and the children. Mm-hmm. And they've done this absolutely knowingly. They do it in ads on TVs, for example. You need a mentor. I remember my mentor. If you need a mentor, contact us. No, mum and dad are the mentor. So if there's a problem, and if the government has a role in doing this, they should be helping the parents be better mentors to their kids. Because it's a busy world, we need new skills. So that's the way a genuinely caring government does it. It doesn't get between the parents and the kids. Another example. Mental health issues. If you've got mental health issues and you're a child, contact us. No, speak to your mum and dad.
Yes.
If mum and dad are the problem, there are ways around that too. But you shouldn't get between mum and dad or the kids. But this is part of the strategy of the communists. It's in the 45 goals. I've mentioned it before, mention it again. Guys, Google the 45 goals of communism, and one of the things that they target is to break down the natural family. And the government, Slow-Mo and his pedophile protecting government, and that includes the Labor Party, because they're exactly the same. In fact, if you want to just send one question, everybody, after watching this, email one question to your state and federal MP. How many more children have to be raped and killed before you open your mouth about pedophilia? That's it. Because it doesn't matter. Nothing else matters. I've said it before, anybody gets between me and my children, I'll kill them. That's pretty straightforward.
Yep.
It's really easy.
That's exactly
And Peter Dutton, if you want to start tracking me, because I'm sure you already are, because I've got information suggesting that people in your department are penetrating other political parties to bring them down, which is weaponising security services against people's democratic rights. Peter, if you genuinely want to protect pedophiles, keep doing what you're doing. Otherwise, you'd open your mouth and do something to remove the 90-year suppression order. Peter, the pedophile protecting Homeland Security man. Oh, and while we're on Peter, let's throw this one in. Is it true, Peter, the man who won't speak up about the 90-year suppression order, is it true you recently sold a $5 million house in Queensland, made a tidy $2 million profit, just because there was a 5G tower built out in front?
Yes.
Is that true? Now, I wonder, is that true?
I actually visited.
So, Peter, the Homeland Security Minister who was protecting pedophiles by keeping his big fat mouth shut, mate, say something, lift the suppression order, and reveal the names of the former prime ministers, the judges, and the police on that order. But you won't, will you, Peter?
No, they won't, because their life is more important than their own children's life. There's the difference between us and them. Will I remove my heart to give it to my son? In a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Would he? No, because if he did, he'd be saying, if you're going to kill me for exposing who you are, so be it. But at least I know when I'm not here, my children are safe.
That's right.
But no, it's not. They don't care, right? I see my son hanging his head down, and I ask him what's wrong. It might be just having a bad day. I see my daughter sitting in her room for 3 or 4 hours, not normal. I'll knock on the door. Can I come in, Dad? Are you okay? Because I know, just like Riccardo said, I'll kill anyone that touches my child. I don't care about the consequences to me. I've done what I wanted to do in my life. I'm not at the halfway mark. If I make the next half better for my children, great. But as God is my witness, I find out anybody touches my child, there's no cops. There's no one. There's me and them and hell. That's it.
Going to go Liam Neeson.
And that's what we need from every single parent in Australia to feel the same way.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way the government will say either we do something or a lot of people are going to die. Because these people don't care about he might get the corona in jail.
That's right.
This person's going to be tracked down and murdered. So let's just be honest with the people and let's do something about it.
That's right. And this sort of reminds me of that quote, and I think this is the difference between us and them. It's that a society grows great when its men plant trees and do not sit in the shade in which it gives off later on. We're not doing these things for us. You guys are doing it for me. I'm going to enjoy it because I'm in Gen Z. I'm a young man, 23, but you're doing it for your kids, you know? I'm doing it for my kids because I think that these repercussions, they're going to see it as well. Kids I haven't had yet. Kids that I don't think I should have until these problems are put right.
I can understand where Riccardo coming from. Really, I can.
Yeah.
He's a man that at a young age signed up to defend Australia. And again, I don't give credit unless credit is due. Wanted to defend Australia, and off he went and did his campaigns and followed orders and worked his way up the ranks till he became the leader of the men that he was, asking them to do things, right? Only to come back and find out the nation he was defending is led by a bunch of men who don't give a rat's ass about his children. This is the men that we need. Not these blokes. Men that have, I'll take a bullet for Australia. But how many men out there are willing to take a bullet for their children? That's the question I want to know. I know Riccardo would. I can see it in his eyes. Maybe that's an Italian thing. Maybe it's a Lebanese thing.
Don't stare too long. Yeah.
But I want everybody to know, I want it to become an Australian thing where nobody can protect you. It's not about me. I know for a fact if I go to jail, I'll probably visit a few mates.
Yeah.
It doesn't worry me, jail.
Yeah.
What worries me is what happened to my kids. And I know that if we get behind Riccardo,
Yeah.
you're not getting behind a cards player that sits on the table and does a poker face and pretends. This is legit. This guy will defend your children and he'll make people pay for it. If you want that, jump on board. If you don't, find yourself a nice little corner when we come for you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of coppers, straight coppers, good coppers, and they just can't wait. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. They can't wait to be let off the leash. Go get the pedophile politicians. Go get the pedophile judges. Go get the pedophile lawyers. We'll build the prisons. You fill them.
Yeah.
The cops can't wait.
Yeah.
They are so looking forward to it.
Yeah. You're just going to give them the nod. That's going to be interesting. I think one of the issues that relate to our